my amazing scholars from our awesome second grade class. So today we're going to continue with lesson 2. We are actually going to finish it. And before we even continue, I do want to go over the timeline that we were creating yesterday, because I know that we kind of rushed through it and there was a time where I stopped even going back to the timeline to write the event. So I'm going to go over that so that you guys can see how when we were reading that section, we were determining those major events and including those major events in our American West timeline that we're going to be using for the rest of the module. Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do, let me go into the key points, is we're going to examine topic-specific words from some sentences that I'm going to get from the book. And then in our life, boys and girls, we will be doing our deep dive, and our deep dive will be including handout 2B. So you are going to need your workbook, and it is about vocabulary. Okay, so handout 2B, workbook for your life class. Right now, you're just sitting straight, being a STAR student, following along to the information that Mrs. Alvarez is giving you. And then in your life class with Ms. Rodriguez and myself, you guys will be doing handout 2B. Okay, and of course review some of the things that we talked about in this video and about yesterday. So yesterday we discussed the major events, the main topic of the some sections from the Buffalo are back. And while we were discussing, I know for my homeroom and Mrs. Allen's homeroom, we stayed in the 1900s. So I do want to touch base a little bit on that information and just simply wrap everything up from the book and how we were getting those major events in our timeline and how the timeline is just going to become, or I guess expand and be, you know, more information throughout the module. Okay, so let me share that with you. So here is Mrs. Alvarez timeline. It is American West timeline, and the major events that we're looking at, or that we are going to be focusing on, will be long ago, the 1850s, 1900s, 1950s, and now. Okay, so those are the major time frames that we're looking for. And of course, we are going to have time in between. If you look carefully, we have one here. And as we continue on through the module, boys and girls, we are going to add more events that are happening during these times in the American West, and we are going to add to them, to this timeline. Okay, it's going to be really interesting to see how while something was happening in a place, something else was going on with other people. So that is really interesting to see and to learn about. Okay, so yesterday we went over some of the sections from the book and we got those major events from the section. So long ago, before anything, we had Indians and Buffalo living together, and that is how the Buffalo are back start, right? That's how the book starts, and they're living together. The Buffalo benefit the Indians as the Indians help the Buffalo survive and help the prairie as everybody helps each other, right? Then comes 1850s comes the 1850s, and we have new people coming in the West. And that is when the Indian Wars were also happening, right? We have the government bought a lot of land from the American Indians. They were kicking some of them out, while others did not agree because the government did break a lot of treaties. That is when the Indian Wars were happening. In American Indians were fighting with the government or with the U.S. Army. And once that happened, that went away, we had a lot of new people coming into the West and settling there in the Prairie, right? Then, because of all that new people, they didn't know how to work the land, right? We all know that. And in the book, it states that the land dried up and so nothing grew. The Prairie started dying, and that happened around 1874. And then we continue to the 1900s, and I emphasize here the date in 1908. That is when people helped the Prairie become healthy again. So they noticed during this time, 1874 and 1900s, they noticed how the Prairie was very much affected by them. So President Theodore Roosevelt said we need the buffalo back in the Prairie so the Prairie can be healthy, and he managed to send some of his workers to go look for buffalo, and him and others helped the Prairie become healthy again. Then we continue going, and we know that President Roosevelt helped a lot when he made it illegal to hunt buffalo, and that is when now in the Prairie we have buffalo. So now buffalo are back in the Prairie, and that is what's right now. Okay, so that is the timeline that happened, and the buffalo are back. And like I said, this timeline we are going to be adding to it from other books, and we're going, like I've mentioned this before, but we're going to see how some events are going to I guess overlap, and we're going to be like, what? So this was happening when this other individual was doing this. So it's going to be really fun to learn throughout the whole module 2. But I just wanted to overview those major events that happened in Buffalo Are Back, because these major events are actually going to also help us understand what is going on in other books. So that's why we highlighted these major events. So I hope this helps. You all, I know that we are still thinking if we are going to have you guys copy while we are doing it. We'll let you guys know, but we are going to be uploading copies of this timeline so that you guys can look at it, see how the events are happening, what is going on in the American West throughout this time. Okay, so now let's continue with lesson 2. I know I get super excited when it comes to the major events, and I know I was super excited yesterday and I lost track of time, and I had one of my students remind me, Miss Alvarez, it's almost gonna be time. I was like, I don't know. But let's continue with lesson 2, and the next part is that we're going to be looking at topic specific words. So let me show you that. For our craft question for today, it's actually, why are topic specific words important? So this is something that we're actually going to examine, topic specific words, and we're going to determine why they're important for us and how do they help us, okay? Before we continue, I want to ask you guys this sentence we are going to read in a bit, but what is a topic? What is a topic? Think about it. What is a topic? If you're thinking that it is what we learn about, yes. It is an idea that the book is telling us. That is also correct. A topic is something we are reading many books about. Yes. So what is our topic for the whole module 2? What is the topic for that one? Think about it. If you were thinking American West, you are right. The topic is American West. American West. So we are reading different type of books with the particular topic that involves the American West, but each book has a topic specific thing, right? A thing that we're learning. So topic specific words are words that relate to an idea or the subject that we're learning. So basically, Buffalo Are Back, we know that more than likely one of the topic specific words is going to be buffalo, right? Because that is part of the title, and we have learned a lot about the buffalo, and we know that the buffalo were a big part for the Prairie. So we know that that is something important, okay? we are going to understand this topic-specific words so that we not only understand the book, but we can also gather those important evidence for an informative paragraph. Okay, so here is the first word. Not the first word, but the first sentence, and it says, with the death of the buffalo, the Indian wars were over. The settlers faced a new fight, the Battle of the Grasses. So now, you looking at this, which ones do you feel are topic-specific words? Which one do you feel are topic-specific words? So these are the topic-specific words, boys and girls. Buffalo, Indian wars, settlers, battle, and grasses. Okay? So those are the topic-specific words. Buffalo, Indian wars, settlers, battle, and grasses. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this word, this sentence with no topic-specific words. They are going to have a word, but it's not going to be topic-specific. It's just going to be more in general. And then I'm going to ask you a question. So this is the next sentence, and it says, with the death of the animals, the fights were over. The people faced a new fight, the fight of the plants. So think of those two sentences, and then now focus on this one. And this is my question. Which sentence do you understand more? And why? Which sentence do you understand more and why? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about that. Which sentence do you understand more and why? Okay, so now I felt, let me share with you my answer. I felt the first sentence is clear because I know what kinds of animals I'm talking about and because I'm sure of what is going on. Now, who is people? I don't know. Many people face a new fight every day, right? So the first sentence was clearer because of the topic-specific words that were there, okay? Now, we are going to fill in the blanks for this sentence using topic-specific words. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, I don't know. I don't know the topic-specific words. So I am going to give you hints. The first one, this is my hint. Who has sharp feet that paw the ground? Think about it. Who has sharp feet that paw the ground? If you're thinking about buffalo or bison, they're the same. Yes, you are right. So the topic-specific word for the first one is bison's sharp hooves, right? My second question, so that we can find the second topic-specific word, who set fires to the grass to bring nutrients to the soil? Who set fires to the grass to bring nutrients to the soil? Yes, if you are thinking of Indians, American Indians, you are right. They were the ones that would burn the prairie so that the grass could be healthy. Good job on that. So now, my next question is this, boys and girls. How did the topic-specific words made our sentence better? By us knowing that the first blank is bison and the second one is Indian, how did it make you feel better? Think. it made me feel better because I had more details in the sentence, and because that is what we're learning. It made me understand what is going on in the book because of those two specific words. If they would have put the animal's sharp hooves, I wouldn't know what type of animal they're talking about. Right? So now I know that they're talking about bison. I know they're talking about buffalo. And I know that the ones that did the fire weren't just people, they were actually Indians, American Indians. So that is why topic specific words are important, because it gives us that specific information, that precise information that we need to understand the sentence or the book better. Okay, so that's why we tell you, or I have told you, and I know Ms. Rodriguez told you, that you are going to need those topic specific words for your informative paragraph to give that specific information, to give that specific evidence. Okay, so the next part that we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's happening in Buffalo Roar Back. So I know that we did our timeline and we discussed what was happening. So I want you to think, what is going on in Buffalo Roar Back? And why is the title so important now? So now that we know what is going on in the book, we know that the Buffalo Roar Back it's a very meaningful title, right? It actually gives us one of the major events that happened in the book. That was when the buffalo came back to the prairie. Another thing is that in today's lesson, we were able to, yesterday in today's lesson, we were able to determine those major events that helped us gather the main idea and understand the book better, right? So here's my next question. How does using the timeline to describe what's happening in the text help you? How does that help you? The timeline. Okay, I see what you're saying. So yes, it helps us keep track of the events. It helps us make sure that we know that things change over time. That is something that we've been looking at since Module 1. We learned that the buffalo once were here, then they were gone, and then they came back. The timeline helps us that. And it happened in a certain order. There's a certain time frame for everything in life, right? So using a timeline is going to help us see that happening and see the order of events and those major events that impacted the American West, right? So that is how we know that's how the timeline is important. Okay, so for today, for your deep dive, you are going to need handout 2B, and it is called Wordline. We are going to be using the book and then vocabulary words that we're going to be using for that handout. Ms. Rodriguez and myself will guide you and help you out on that. So make sure that you do have handout 2B out. And another thing, guys, that I want to highly recommend this module is for you guys to look at your fluency homework. Your fluency homework is in your blue workbook, and you can just go and practice your reading. It's not something that we're going to, you need to turn in your time or anything, but I do want for you guys to, if you have time, go to handout 2A. It is your fluency homework, and it gives you, this one is actually the buffalo dust. And the reason why we also want for you guys to look at your fluency homework, because just like last semester, we found out that in the ENA module and in the in the biweekly assessment, some of the paragraphs were actually in your fluency homework. So whenever you guys have time, go back to your fluency homework, just read it, practice your fluency, just so that you guys become aware of that information that gives you. And once more, don't forget to have your blue workbook out, handout 2B. We are going to be using it in our live class, where I had a very fun time being with you today and talking about the major events and topic specific words and how they help us understand the book better. I'll see you at 9 in the morning. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye, boys and girls.